All right. So welcome to those of you here in the studio and those of you at home. Start a nice comfortable seat. Find a nice long spine. My focus this week is shoulders. So just take a minute to roll the shoulders. Just kind of connect with the movement of the shoulders. Rolling them back in the opposite direction. And then go for a little roll alternately. And then back in the opposite direction. And then interlace the fingers, place them on top of the head. Just take a moment to extend the ground of the head up into your hands. Find that nice long spine. And then just settling into stillness, bring the palms down to the knees. Have essential oils to start the practice if you would like them, palms facing up. Peppermint and citrus bliss this morning. If you're choosing not to use the oils or you're practicing at home without oils, keep the attention on your Samavriti or your even breath. And find an inhale and an exhaling that match. But take yourself to that point where there's a length that's deeper and longer than you would normally breathe. Maybe adding a count. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Feel free to add a pause at the top or the bottom. If you're familiar with practicing Ujjayi breath, feel free to add that. Gentle restriction to the back of the throat. Settling into the breath that helps you find a rhythm. Using the oil, take a moment to bring the aroma into that space around you. Try and stay connected to the rhythm of your breath. Hands can come up in front of the nose. As far away or as close as serves you. To use as much or as little of the aroma as you need. It's very awakening, uplifting effect. Citrus is a real mood booster. Peppermint oil, very much a kickstarter, awakener, mood changer, shifter. Together they bring you into the space, into the present, and into your practice. We've got 3 more full deep breaths here. If you are using oils, you want to take the excess oil residue to the back of the neck, chest, the throat, shoulders, anywhere that you'd like a little bit of extra attention to that. We'll come to a reclined position. Now, taking your 2 blocks. If you don't have any blocks at home, just anything that's kind of block shaped will do. I'm going to take one for across the shoulder blades and one for the head. You might like them at the same height. You might like the head a little bit more raised. Setting it up however you wish. And get that block between the shoulder blades a little bit higher up the back. To get this sense of almost resting the shoulder girdle on it, and resting the back of the head onto the second block. I'll open out the arms nice and wide and then draw the soles of the feet together, knees out wide, finding that Baddha Konasana shape with the legs. And just play with very subtle movements with the arms. So you imagine you're drawing a big circle with the hands. And just notice any points of tension as you move through a full rotation down towards the hips and up towards the head. Don't force it all the way up if it's feeling tight, but find a spot that feels nice and juicy. You feel like you're starting to open out into. Pause there. Notice if the shoulders have crept up towards the ears, and try and allow them to sink and wrap over or rest on the block. Reconnect with that beautiful breath rhythm you established at the start. Just allow things to drop, allowing this opening across the chest, the release of those smaller muscles through this passive technique, things like that. Pectoralis minor, that little muscle that likes to pull your shoulders forward, giving it a little break and allowing it to rest and open. Two more breaths here. And then slowly bring the hands back down. And you press down into the floor, just roll yourself off to one side, remove the blocks. And then come back down to your back. You take it out wide as if you're coming into Shavasana. And then take the arms out wide into a T-shape. Now we're going to make those circles once again, almost like we're making floor angels, as if you were making snow angels. But keep the legs still. And we're going to bring the hands down beside the hips. And then turn the hands so that the thumbs touch the floor and the pinky finger is facing kind of up towards the ceiling. And then from there, start to draw the circle and just go as far as you can, keeping the thumbs pointing in that direction. So at no stage will the pinky finger touch the floor. And then draw the circle back to the hips. So it might only be half a circle, it might only be a quarter of a circle, but just find that full range of motion that is there. Notice how the shoulders creep up slightly towards the ears. Allow that to happen. As you come back down to the hips one more time. This time flip so the palms face up. And we'll draw the circle again. Use the thumb tip on the floor and try and keep your hand off the floor. And then draw that big circle once again, this time all the way up overhead until the thumbs touch. And then bring it all the way back down. Try and keep the back of the hand off of the floor, just the thumb or the thumbnail that's touching, all the way back to the hips. Two more of those. Big inhale breath to reach all the way up and open. And an exhale breath to bring it all the way down. Notice if one arm moves a little bit more freer or faster than the other. And see if you can get them even. Inhale, notice which thumb gets above the head first. Hopefully they arrive at the same time.
See if you can find them touching. And then all the way back down. Beautiful. Draw the knees in towards the chest gently without any force. And gentle rock side to side with the hips. And then hands under the knees, rock yourself up. Rock up and over, find a tabletop position. And then take the knees out wide, toes together, sink back, child's pose. And from your child's pose, come up onto the fingertips, find length through the arms. Find a little bit more length and extension, reaching. Inhale, gaze forward, and start to walk the hands over towards the right. Finding some length in the side body as you slide the right hand down on the floor towards the right knee. Press down into the floor and see if you can creep that left hand a little bit further over, finding that additional length through the side body, but at the same time, trying to keep that left hip connected to the left heel or the energy of that direction. Inhale, rise up, come back through center, take it over to the other side. Sliding left hand down towards left knee, bending that right hand a little further across, sinking right hip towards right heel. Beautiful, come back through center. Rise up, tabletop. Cat-cow as we set up with the wrists under the shoulders, the knees under the hips. Start by dropping the belly, finding that arch, creating space between the shoulders and the ears. And then draw belly in, press mat away, rounded dog, finding that cat pose. Inhale, cow pose. And moving with your breath, exhale, cat pose. Keep moving through that rhythm 3 more rounds. If you like the breath in the opposite direction or force, feel free to take it that way. And then settle back into neutral. From here, we'll take a little bit of movement through the shoulder blades. So scapular press, or some people call it a rhomboid push-up. Basically what we're doing is keeping the arms nice and strong and straight, and just dropping the chest without arching through the back. And then press and dome like you're coming to cat pose. So keep the head where it is, an extension of the spine, and just drop the chest. Try and pull the shoulder blades in towards each other. You might even feel them slide past and almost come to meet, and then press and down. Moving through this action of protraction and retraction of the shoulder blades. Two more. And then settle back into neutral. Tuck your toes and take hold of your strap. Bring the strap in half. We'll do our shoulder flossing. Find a point where you can really pull apart. If part's too short, take it a little further apart. Find a space where you can feel that pulling apart as you start to move through your range of motion. And maybe as you take one round after the other, it starts to be a little bit more lubrication, a little bit more space that comes in. When
you can bring the hands a little closer. If you notice you're trying to do the movement with bent elbows, arching the back or twisting to achieve it, just means the strap's in a little bit close. Two more. Beautiful. And come off the toes if you need to. Now, you're going to take the right hand and pin one side of the strap down to the floor. Yeah, and then extend this left arm up until you get to your full range of motion. Gaze up, and then imagine you're just flossing through that tight back space. Should be quite juicy, even clunky. If it feels quite easy, maybe you just need to slide the hand down a little closer so you get a little more purchase on the strap. Nice, and on the other side. So really putting it down, just slowly pull up, get the strap behind the head so it's not super awkward. And then find that spot. Feel like you're flossing. Like you're flossing your teeth. That moment where that piece that needs a little bit of extra attention. Starting to release the connective tissue that sticks together, particularly through lack of movement. And release. Beautiful work. Take the strap to the side. Take your 2 blocks. And again, if you don't have blocks at home, you could bring in a chair for this and just rest your elbows onto a chair. But here we're using blocks with the blanket. And the blanket, just to make it a little bit softer on the elbows as we bring the elbows in. Shuffle the feet, the legs back so that the knees are underneath the hips somewhat. And then dropping the head between the shoulder space. You might like the toes tucked, you might like the toes untucked. Try and stay there. And really start to open up through the space of the shoulders. You might feel it around the top of the shoulder, the top of the arm, and the deltoid. Get that sense of really allowing the head to drop. Notice if it's resting on whatever you're using, the blocks or the chair. Try and let it hang heavy, using it as the weight to allow the space to open between the shoulder blades. At the same time, keep a little bit of tone to the lower belly so that you're not dropping into any unnecessary compression through your lower back. 3 more breaths here. Really sinking in. Slowly rising up and coming out. Ease your way back and just find a child's pose briefly with the knees together, belly resting on the thighs, palms face up the side and behind you. Get a sense of allowing the shoulder blades to drop. Inhale, rise up. Get the arms out wide in a cactus shape. And take the right elbow underneath the left. Find your eagle arms. So, if you can't achieve eagle arms today, You can reach around, take the back of opposite shoulders, but always looking for the sense of squeezing down, almost pulling apart while squeezing together. If you can't find the hands for that little self-high five moment, it might be the backs of the hands. The moment of success. I made it, yeah. Beautiful. Inhale, open out. Little arch. And then switch sides, left underneath. Listen to that feeling of pulling the shoulder blades apart so the elbows are somewhat dropping. But trying to extend the wrists up and away. So you get these counteracting forces. Trying to find this place of middle zero where the force of lifting up and the force of pulling down are even. You stay still with a whole lot of effort. But at the same time looking for that sense of ease. That ease happens with the internal place of softness achieved through that beautiful breath rhythm. And one more breath. Release the arms, find that big opening once again. And then just take a moment, a few little rolls. You might like to swing the arms. Just have a pat on the back. And then we'll take one more round opening into the shoulders. So come back to your hips over the knees, elbows onto the blocks of the chair. Drop the head through. Theoretically, it should be a little bit easier, but easier might not be the right word. And allow, once again, the head to be this counterweight. If you do find yourself in a position where the head is connected to the floor, just prop whatever you're using up a little bit more, which might mean taking the blocks onto a higher setting, might mean moving to the chair, coffee table, the couch, whatever it is that you're using. Just two more breaths here. And then rising up and bring yourself back to that child's pose position once again, palms up, belly on the thighs, forehead to the mat if it reaches. Nice, rise on up. Clear your mat. Take the hands out a little bit wider than you normally would as we set up for downward facing dog with wide arms. Lift yourself up and then just take some movement, pedaling out the feet. Settling into your downward facing dog shape with a little bit wider hands and maybe even a little bit wider feet to help with the balance. And then settling into stillness here. See if you can experiment with taking the elbows out just a little and then pulling them back in underneath. And just notice what that does to your down dog shape. Notice what that does to the activation around the shoulders.
See if you can find a place where you're not just dropping into the shoulder joint, but you're actually active and strong around the shoulders. Once you've found that nice strong place, get a sense of pressing the chest back towards the legs, really grounding down through the fingers, particularly at the base of the index and thumb. It seems like you're pushing the mat away and almost trying to pull it apart at the same time, while trying to wrap the triceps underneath. One more breath here. And then gaze forward and just walk yourself into a standing forward fold top of the mat. Set up the feet at hip distance. And take the hands to opposite elbows. Let the head be heavy. Let the shoulders be heavy as well. Allow them to drop. Allow them to hang. Almost looking for a sense of stretch. Through that shoulder space, the backs of the armpits, the tops of the arms, then release the hands, let them hang heavy or touch the mat, and then slowly curl up to stand. Pick up the shoulders, roll them down the back, and then reach the arms up. Draw the hands down through heart center. And then take the hands around behind you, interlace them behind your back, and start to extend them down towards the floor. Again, drawing the shoulder blades down the back and squeezing the shoulders towards each other. Inhale, gaze up. Exhale, bend the knees and start to lower the belly onto the thighs. Let the head hang heavy. If there's space, start to extend the arms back overhead. If this just brings pain or unnecessary tightness or tingling, you're going to bend at the elbows and leave the hands resting on the lower back. If it just feels like a nice opening, a beautiful deep stretch, feel free to extend a little bit deeper. One more breath. And then if they're not there already, bring the hands to the lower back, bending at the elbow. Slide the hands around to the shins. Inhale for your flat back, halfway lift. And then bend the knees, plant the hands, and step back to a high plank position. Set it up so that the wrists are just wider than the shoulders today. And then get the sense of rocking forward and back. And if you have a tendency to look down, try and look ahead today. Just see how that feels. Really rise high on the tips of the toes as you rock back and forth. Bring the knees to the mat. And then extend as far forward as you feel comfortable. And then start to lower down from there, bending at the elbows. All the way to the mat. Inhale, lift up, float the hands, baby cobra. And you get that sense of drawing shoulder blades down the back towards each other. Maybe there's a little bit of extra lift, reaching through the crown of the head. And then notice what it feels like to tuck the chin from this position, and then lift the head, and then tuck the chin, and then find neutral spine. Release down, forehead to the mat. Draw yourself back, child's pose. Lift up, down, facing dog. And then gaze forward, walk, step, or even hop. Find your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, curl it up to stand, reach.
Exhale, hands draw through heart. Again with the interlace of the fingers, open out, lift the chest. Bend the knees, start to lower the belly down onto the thigh. Find that sense of opening and extension through the backs of the shoulders, the lengthening through the arms. Start to bend at the elbows, hands come to the low back. Slide the hands around down to the shins. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. Straight arms, straight legs if you've got it. Knees bend, hands plant. This time, step the right foot back, right knee to the mat. Inhale, rise up for your low lunge. And then take the arms wide into your cactus shape. Let's go right elbow underneath the left. Find your eagle arms. Get a sense of drawing that front heel back in towards you. Feel a little bit of lift. And that back knee drawing forwards. Grow a little taller. And then start to extend them apart. Notice as you sink, maybe just a little. And then find that midpoint. From that midpoint, start to inhale, lift up across the chest. Maybe you can gaze up and start to trace the elbows up a little higher. If this brings any tension into the neck, the shoulders, or the low back, do not bother. It's not worth it. If it feels good, take it back a little further. And then slowly come back to your neutral position. Release the arms, reach tall. And then plant both hands down the inside line of this front foot. Toe heel the foot a little wider. If you like support for the back knee with the blanket, slide it in. Otherwise, you might just shuffle that back knee a little further back and sink into your lizard lunge. You're going to stay up on the hands today. So you can take this right hand a little bit further out and take the left hand and just place it onto the left knee. See if you can come onto the blade edge of that front foot. Just explore a little bit more space here. Beautiful, one more breath here. And then rising back up. Shuffle that back knee in a little. And this right hand comes forward, so it's forward of the shoulder joint. Nice, and then this back knee that's planted, you're going to open it out. And then we're going to sweep this top leg all the way back. We'll have ourselves a supported side plank position. Top arm reaches up. And then you can play with extending that top arm over and in front. Find a little bit of length through the side body, like you're reaching up and forward, extension through the fingers. Nice, one more breath. And then this top arm reaches over, bring the hand back down, and step the right foot back. Find your high plank position as you drift the shoulders forward over the wrists. And then draw the lower belly in and up. Come back to downward facing dog. Gaze forward to the top of the mat. Walk, step or hop. Find your forward fold. Inhale, curl up. Reach tall. Exhale, hands through heart. One more time. This time take the opposite interlace, so different pinky finger on top as you take the hands behind the back. Open out through the chest. Might feel a little tighter with a different orientation of the hands. Big inhale, gazing up. Bend at the knees, lower the belly to the thigh.
Extend the arms overhead if that feels good. And then again, bending at the elbows, hands come to the low back. Release the hands around and down to the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Straight arms, straight legs, nice flat back. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step the left foot back. Drop that left knee to the mat. Beautiful, find that activation. Inhale, rise up. Reach the arms. Find your cactus arms. And then let's take the left arm underneath. Eagle arms here. Again, that sense of squeezing together while pulling apart. Same thing with the arms as with the legs. So as you're squeezing that front heel, back knee in towards each other, feel the lift. And then pressing apart, feel the sink. And then find that middle point. If it feels good, the gaze might go up. The elbows might lift a little, the wrists might extend up. And you might find a little arch in the back. And coming back through center, release out, cactus arms, nice big open. And then hands plant inside line. Toe heel that foot a little wider. Shuffle this knee back and sink into the lizard lunge. Left hand just slightly wider and forward of the shoulder. Right hand comes to right knee. Come onto the blade edge of that front foot if you can. And just searching for a little bit more space. Not too much pressure with the hand. And again, always matching that pressure by pressing back into the hand with the leg. One more breath. And rise back up. We'll transition by taking that left hand a little further towards the top of the mat. And then start to rotate this back leg. And then slide the front foot all the way back. So we find our supported side plank, top arm can reach up. Find that length and arch. And find the length through the side body. Nice, one more full breath. And the top arm comes down. Transition yourself back up onto your feet. Draw yourself forward into that high plank position. And then draw in, up at the belly, find down, facing dog. Nice, full breath. And then your option, you can just drop the knees, or you can take a little hop through to a seat, whatever serves. Come down to a seated position. We're going to come straight down onto our backs today. So bringing a block with you, reclining down onto your back. Now I'll start with a regular bridge. We'll really focus on what the shoulders are doing in our bridge pose. So if you take the Sanskrit full bridge, which is Situbandha Savangasana, the Savangasana part of that means shoulder stand. Yeah, so we're looking for, we directly translate a bridge lock shoulder stand. So think about this as being a balance on your shoulders. So we'll set up the feet first of all, heels plant down into the mat, toes turn in just slightly. That sense of squeezing the inner thighs without letting the knees knock in. ground down through the feet, press down as you lift the hips. And see if you can find that interlace of the fingers underneath before you go into your full lift with the hips. And then use the sense of pressing down to try and tuck the shoulders underneath. Now you can shuffle over to one side and tuck the opposite shoulder under, and then lean onto that shoulder, tuck the first one back underneath as well. So then you get a sense of resting or balancing on the shoulders somewhat. The chin is tucked to the chest, and try not to move the head from here, so keep the gaze straight up. And then get a sense of lifting the hips, but also drawing the hips towards the chin. So you feel a little bit more in the shoulders. And then really press down through the hands. See if you can get your interlace a little tighter. Really press down through the hands and get a sense of opening across the shoulders in this position. Notice if your glutes are really gripping. So if that bum is really squeezing, see if you can soften it and send a little bit more attention to your knees drawing forward. And that might bring a little bit of the effort into the bottom of the quadriceps. Nice, one more breath here. And then slowly lower down, allow the shoulders to open, release the interlace of the hands, and just take a moment to let that lower back press into the mat at the bottom, step the feet a little wider, and let the knees drop in towards each other. Allow things to sink and settle. And then reset up the feet. Take one more round, this time with a little bit of movement. If you prefer not to do any more, you can slide the block in underneath and take a supported bridge to finish, or even a waterfall. But otherwise, we're going to set it up and take some movement through the arms. So normally with this, I would cue arms rise up as the hips rise up. But we're going to take the opposite. So keep the hips on the floor, take the arms up overhead. You get a sense of activation through the low belly, press low back into the mat, press down through the feet, and as you inhale, you're going to lift the hips but bring the hands down to the floor beside the hips. And as you exhale, reverse it. Bring all of your attention to the shoulders and notice the movement of the shoulders as you go through this movement. And just take 5 more. Find a nice slow pace. We are in that wind down period. Find that breath rhythm that makes it feel nice and slow. You're easing your way in towards Shavasana. Last one. And then just as you're ready, set those feet a little wider once again. Draw the knees into the chest, maybe a little squeeze. Do gentle rock side to side. Maybe it's a happy baby. Or anything else you need before you extend into your Shavasana shape. Palms face up, feet nice and wide, hips soft so the feet can flop open to the side. Just allow the weight of your body to drop into the mat.
If you're at home, you have a little bit more time, feel free to stay in your Shavasana a little longer. For us here at the studio, start to bring your awareness back to the breath. Find that movement through the fingers and toes. And making your way through one side, slowly come on up to a seated position, close the class together. Hands can stay resting on the knees, hold them together, heart center, gently bowing the head towards the hands. Close on a breath together, inhaling through the nose, sighing it out the mouth. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your time, your energy, and sharing your practice today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.